It's clean, safe, affordable, and surprisingly modern. Here are the top reasons retirees say Hua Hin is the best place to live in Thailand. Hey, welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope you're all doing well. The first reason would be, the safe environment there. As an older person, I think it's really important coming to somewhere where you feel very safe and secure. And this is massively important. If you come from one of the big countries like, Australia, UK, America, crime is a big deal. It is. Sometimes you do go out at night. I know, I'll go back to see my brother in the UK, go around Birmingham at night. It's like blooming hell. You do feel a bit not that safe sometimes, walking around in the centre of Birmingham at night. It's not the best area to be walking around. Stoke-on-Trent too, where I'm from, so coming to somewhere like Thailand, you're going to feel very, very safe compared to back to your own country. Is it perfect? No, of course it's not. Crime is always an issue and you should always be on the lookout for, situations and not put yourself in dangerous situations, walking around really late at night. But even in Thailand, if you do walk around late at night, I don't think you're going to have any problems. I'd be very, very surprised. Normally, the expat retiree who has problems over here has caused them problems themselves. Number two would be, moving on to the private healthcare over here. Thailand has some of the best healthcare in the world if you go private. And, a lot of you guys will have medical insurance when you come out here. So you can use these private facilities, the private hospitals. Everyone speaks English to a pretty good intermediate level, some of advanced level, and just the facilities in there, the quality of care is very, very good. I've used these hospitals in Hua Hin and around Thailand. I've used a few different ones. I've actually used government ones as well and taken my kids to public hospitals as well. And, I've had no problems in either of the hospitals. Yeah, I think in the government hospitals, there's less English spoken there. So that could be challenging for you guys coming out here if you use these kind of hospitals. But if you use the private ones, I think, there is a good level of English in there, especially in this area, because there are so many expats, retirees, tourists living in this area, going into these hospitals regularly. So they are kind of used to foreigners going in there, and the clinics as well. They are very, very used to foreigners going into the clinics, going into the hospitals. Just make sure you got a good insurance policy. When you come over to Thailand, I think it's essential. Some people choose to self-insure. I think that's very, very risky, but that is entirely up to you. The retirement visa actually, stipulates you do need some kind of insurance with this. Number three would be that the large expat community, English speaking in this area. There are a lot of expats from all around the world in this area. There are expats from UK, America, Australia, Europeans. There's a lot of Scandinavians in this area for sure. So you're not going to be alone when you come over here. There's lots of people to speak English with in this area. And English level is pretty good in this area. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. It's not perfect anywhere in Thailand. No areas, everyone speaks English perfectly. But, in this area, I think a lot of the tourist areas around Thailand and Hua Hin in particular, they do speak pretty good level of English, I think, in that kind of tourist centre. Now, if you go out to the centre there, for sure, they're going to speak less English. Number four would be the lower cost of living. You guys are coming from Australia, America, UK, which are the main countries that you guys are coming from, Canada as well. The cost of living is going to be a lot cheaper than, let's say, if you go to Phuket or if you go to Bangkok. So you're going to save yourself a lot of money by coming to this area. Yes, in the centre of Hua Hin, it can be, prices have gone up. I'm not going to lie, over the last few years. It's something to think about and make sure you look out good deals on accommodation and other things in the area, and, look for food in maybe just slightly out of the centre of Hua Hin can, be remarkably cheaper than the real kind of tourist areas. But some things like utilities and your bills and like petrol-free car, diesel-free car and things like this, a lot of things are a lot cheaper over here in Thailand. And the big one is rent. Renting is generally a lot cheaper in Thailand than it would be in your own country. I'm coming from the UK, and rent is extortionate, and it's actually very easy to rent over here. In the UK, where I'm from, it's quite actually difficult to rent a accommodation. You have to get references, and you have to have a job and have a stable income and everything like this. In Thailand, it is normally a lot easier to get accommodation, and you can get short-term or longer-term accommodation over here. Most rents over here, there are 12 months, I'll be honest, and you normally have to put 2 months deposit down as well. And then moving on to number 5, that would be like the quality rentals. There is a lot of choice of rentals in this area, Western style, Thai style. So it depends what you want. There are, 1-bedroom rooms with just a fan, which are obviously going to be a lot cheaper than, a Western style condo beachfront. I mean, use your common sense. There's a massive difference in price in that. The very cheapest ones, are under 10,000 baht, but the really flash condos can be 15, 20, 25, 30,000 baht, and more. It just absolutely depends on the location, depends on the quality of the condo, where it is situated in Hua Hin. There is massive differences in rental accommodation in this area, and if you want to buy as well in the area, there's luxury pool villas, or very basic Thai style houses to rent or to buy. So this is great. I think it gives you a massive option. So whatever your budget you're coming here with, if you got a lower end kind of pension or a higher end pension, there's something for everyone in this area. Number 6 would be the modern supermarkets and shopping malls. So they have the Blue Port, which is the big kind of shopping mall, and I think you can get most stuff from there. If I'm honest, I think a lot of people do shoot back to Bangkok if they want to go big shopping, and do some mega shopping, clothes shopping and stuff. But everything is available in Blue Port to get, so you could just use that shopping mall. Obviously, there's supermarkets everywhere in Hua Hin, Western style and Thai style supermarkets here. Macro is probably a good one a lot of people go to. I use Macro quite a lot where I live in Samut Songkram. I really rate that as really good for me to think, and certain goods, and it is really good value, I think, in there. Villa Market is another one a lot of people go. Some people moan it's a little bit more money, but a lot of the food and the goods there is imported. So, it does cost a lot more money to import them goods from there. But a lot of people use this in this area. There's other cheaper supermarkets as well. I think it's good in this area to use a balance of a lot of different supermarkets and a lot of different stores, not just one. Oh, guys, can you just do us a massive favour? Just press the subscribe button. Really helps the channel. Thanks. Trying to get to this 10,000 subs before Christmas. I'm on the way. I'm about 8,700 now, so I'm doing all right. Okay, and back to the video. There's a lot of medical tourism that goes on in Thailand, so people come here to fix their teeth, get crowns done, and because it is a lot cheaper than the West, so it's a good place to come for this. So so you're coming to an area where people actually come to pay to come to just get it done, and you're actually retiring here. So this is a win-win for you guys, and hopefully if you get medical insurance, dental treatment will be in the package with the health insurance, and it's something I recommend getting, because obviously as you get older your teeth start to fade, as probably some of you guys know. But 8 would be closeness to Bangkok. Or just let me have a quick sip of I got a Yorkshire tea on this morning. I had to film inside this morning. We've had a lot of rain lately in Thailand. I don't know what's going on. It's still raining. It should be coming to a halt soon, I think, the end of the rainy season, but we have had a lot of rain lately. Hopefully it's coming to an end, guys. If you're just visiting at the moment, it is exceptionally wet. It's not usual. This is quite unusual for Thailand at this time of year. It's normally coming to the very end of the rainy season now. It should be finishing, so hopefully next week we'll finish up. So number 8 would be, the closeness to Bangkok. We're only 3 hours away from Bangkok, which is really good, not too far at all. So you can nip back there for services. A lot of people don't really think about, why do I need to be near Bangkok? But I think it's very important for anybody living in Thailand to be near Bangkok, because you've got all the facilities of Bangkok. You've got all the services at Bangkok if you need them, passport services, renewal things you don't always think about. But when you live here a long time, you think, oh God, I've got to go to Bangkok again. And it's like, I live near Bangkok. It's quite handy, guys. So trust me, it's always good to be not too far from Bangkok. You don't have to be right next to it, but you know, a short ride away, 2, 3, 4 hours away from Bangkok, I think is a good idea for many people living here. And also the main reason is the airport. The airport's, you know, closed. That's why Pattaya and Hua Hin are very, very popular, because they're not too far from that airport. I think Pattaya in particular is very popular because of that reason. You know, it's only 90 minutes away from the airport, but Hua Hin's about 3.5, 4 hours away from Suvarnabhumi Airport. So yeah, it depends on how fast you drive and traffic and everything else, you know. As in retirement, I think some of you are going to be going back home once a year, maybe more if you've got more money. It depends on your budget. Some people really like to fly regularly. You know, some people fly once a month, going to another Asian country, going Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, you know, visiting lots of different areas, Malaysia, Singapore. That's the good thing about, you know, living near Bangkok. You can get internal flights, external flights all around Thailand. You know, you can go down to Phuket, up to Chiang Mai. So if you're in this area as a retiree, you might want to do this. If you're not on a restricted budget, which I think some of you guys are not on a restricted budget, so you've got some money to, you know, every month to maybe have a trip somewhere. So it's quite nice to do internal flight from Bangkok, or external as well, visiting some different areas. And you know, Bangkok is the hub of Asia. You can literally get anywhere, man, so quick. It's great. You know, 1, 2 hour, you know, 2.5 hours you're in China. You know, an hour and a half, 2 hours you're in Vietnam. It's superb. There's so many places you can get to very, very quickly from there. Number 9 would be the reliable infrastructure. You know, there's really good road networks going back to Bangkok and going south as well, which I think is very important, because some of the areas going south are really, really beautiful, lovely areas to go and explore. You know, I always go south of Hua Hin these days a bit more than I used to, because I'm just exploring some of them beautiful beaches south of there. So this is important. I think, you know, up and down, you want good road networks. I've driven all around Thailand, and the road networks around Thailand are generally very, very good. Some of the roads in the countryside, there's a few potholes and stuff. You know, you do want a truck, I think, and that's why we bought a truck. Actually, after driving around a lot, I was like, I want a truck, because it's just better, because the roads are sometimes, and when you go out in the countryside like we do a bit, the roads are, you know, they do have potholes in a bit sometimes. Number 10 would be the great climate. I mean, Hua Hin is famous for being a very, very dry area in Thailand, and it's one place where it gets a lot of sunny days and a lot less rainfall than a lot of Thailand. I've lived in Thailand a long time, and I tell you, the rain and the monsoon season can be annoying at times. It really can. You know, those hectic floods in Bangkok. Up in, you know, the north, you get some wicked storms. You know, I've seen them myself. You know, some crazy flooding happens around Thailand. Pattaya is horrendous for flooding, can be. I've been there when it's flooding. I was like, oh my god. That's why they put them pumps along Beach Road now. And, you know, down in Phuket's quite famous for having quite a long rainy season. It does go on and on down there. So, you know, Thailand does vary throughout the year, you know, and the rainy season. But Hua Hin is affected less with this. So I think it's a good area for that reason. Because, you know, rain does affect people, you know, affects travel. It kind of ends up with more traffic jams and all this kind of thing. So that's something else I would consider if you come into this area. I think it's a good area because of that reason alone. Number 11, the clean air. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, you know, pollution. There has been a lot on the news about pollution in Thailand over the last, you know, few years on social media, and they're not lying. You know, in some areas it has been quite bad at times. You know, I lived in Bangkok or around Bangkok, Nonthaburi, for like 9 years, and yes, sometimes the pollution at certain times was annoying. I must admit, I worked around there, so I saw it day in, day out. I kind of saw what it's like, and I heard about people moaning in the north of Thailand, you know, in Chiang Mai, when they're burning the crops off. It is a big issue. Now, down in Hua Hin, how bad is it? Well, I think it's not as bad as other areas. Do they have pollution? For sure, and I've heard 1 or 2 people moaning about it in Hua Hin. There are some people that just moan about everything online, and whatever happens, they're going to moan about whatever happens, even if it's the most wonderful place in the world, they'll still moan about something. Number 12 would be good internet. I mean, AIS is probably the best provider throughout the whole of Thailand, if you're looking at the whole of Thailand, but Hua Hin has excellent internet access, so you don't have to worry about that. It's fantastic, and you need this. It's very, very important. I think, you know, everyone's online these days. Well, it should be, even if you're not. Even my 8-year-old parents in their 80s, and they're on the internet all the time now. So I think everyone's using it, even old or young. It doesn't matter. Everyone's on the internet these days. So it's very, very important. It's exceptional there. Does it ever go off? Hardly ever. I think I've used it many times around the country, and very occasionally if there's a massive storm. I remember up in the north a couple of times, right in the north of Thailand, it went off a couple of times. But in Hua Hin, I think very rarely. They don't get really massive storms in Hua Hin area, so they do sometimes a little bit, but not much, not compared to the north at all. Number 13 would be sports. There's lots of sports and gyms opening up. Obviously golf is very, very popular here, and there's different types of golf clubs in this area. Black Mountain Golf Course is a very, very famous one and very nice golf club. But obviously, every golf club is different prices. So, there are cheaper ones or more expensive ones. There are good gyms opening up in the area. There's like Muay Thai gyms as well, and all kind of fitness stuff, yoga studios, and all kinds of stuff opening up in the city, because there's so many foreigners here and tourists living here now, or like semi-long-term expats, or long-term expats, retirees, long stay tourists. Some tourists come for like 3-6 months sometimes, in Thailand or in this area. There's all people doing different kinds of things, so it does cater for this as well. Number 14 would be the active social scene. I think the community and the active social scene, in Hua Hin, there are a lot of different nationalities living there. So, there's a massive expat community, massive retiree community for sure. And I think the expats are quite nice in that area on a whole. For sure, you get the odd dickhead, but that's just anywhere you go in the world that happens. So, generally on a whole, there's a lot nicer people in this area than maybe some other areas around Thailand that expats live. And number 15 would be, this area is widely known now as a real retirement hub, and I think it's getting bigger and bigger. It's been recognised by Forbes as, one of the top 10 places to retire in the world. So that says something about this area. It's a very, very nice area to come in retirement. I don't think, I don't meet many people who come here and moan that they don't like Hua Hin. I meet very few people who've said this. Some people say it's too quiet. That might be the only thing, but for other people, they say, no, there's loads of stuff going on there. So I think it's your own perception. And I met this couple a while ago who were living there for 2 years, and they had a good life there. They really enjoyed their time in Hua Hin. There's no complaints about it. But then they were like, okay, we want something a bit more buzzing. They want more kind of nightlife. They want more kind of things going on in the daytime and just busier environment. So now they're in Bangkok. So, everyone's different what they want, but Bangkok for some people will be a nightmare. For other people, it's paradise. So it's absolutely individual on yourself, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. Put it in the comments. Put something down in the comments, guys. Really helps the video, pushes it out to more people like yourselves who want to retire in Thailand. Even if it just says thank you for the video, it helps the video a lot. Thanks a lot, guys. All right, until next time, I'll see you on the next video.